Welcome back, everyone, to this wonderful Motzei Shabbos marathon as we learn two Feta Dafen in Bava Kama, putting more on our Olam Haba portfolio, on our Olam Haba resume. By the way, I've been asked by many people, what's with the siyum on Seder Noshim? Which is a very legitimate question. You know, what's with the siyum on Seder Noshim? You know, so I want to tell you that I don't know if it's possible, but what I would love to see is that we Zoomers, together with other people that come on this staff, should make a weekend. And we should have a weekend with the wives and make a siyum on a weekend. I think that, you know, I was very inspired by when I went to California and I saw how the women were trading war stories about their sacrifice for their husbands. Oh, I had a vart, my husband wanted to learn. I needed his help with something, but you know, I did it myself, so he shouldn't miss the daf. And it was such a chizik. It was just a chizik for everybody. So I don't know if it's going to be possible. You know, it might be a pipe dream, but if the Olam wants to talk amongst themselves and see if we could make some kind of a battle plan to have such a weekend, which would be a very good thing in solidifying our fraternity as well. It would be a wonderful thing. Maybe a few people. Shelley, you would be a good guy also to get the ball moving. Maybe Mark, you could help him. And Marshall, of course, will provide the Frankfurters. But
and the beans.
But anyway, it's something that I want to see if we could pull off and we could talk about. That's why I've been holding off on just making a simple night siyum. I mean, Seder Noshim and basically half Shas. Seder Noshim basically means we finished half Shas. That's a pretty big slice. It's a pretty big thing to be proud of.
In Chicago.
Yeah, let's not do it in Chicago. It's really not safe over there right now. All the riots. Let's stay as far away from Chicago as we can.
Much safer.
Yeah. Anyway, but Marshall is thinking about flying everybody out and footing the bill, so we will consider that.
I'm borrowing the money from Rabbi Weiss, guys, and I want to know what the next case in the Gemara will be.
Okay, well, let's take a see. Let's get on the move over here. We're doing well, so let's.
And Marshall sold all his property, so we can't.
Right.
Get in from him.
Right. Anyway, whatever.
I'm no idiots.
Now, we are holding two lines from the bottom of Daf Chesam and Beis. If I didn't say it enough times, Rebbe Elia, it makes me gewaldige happy that you're joining us, and as it is everybody. V'amar Abaya, Ruvain shemacher sada l'Shimon shaloi b'achrayis. Okay, Ruvain sold the field to Shimon, and he was a speculator. That's called speculation. Shimon bought it. The price was really good. It was a $300,000 property, and he's getting it for $175,000. So it was so he speculated, and he didn't pay the extra money to get a guarantee security, and now v'yotza le'asikin. And now there are rumors that it was never Ruvain's property. So when could Shimon say, until when could Shimon say, you know what, I'm backing out? So actually, it's not a question of money. Even if no money was exchanged, but actually, before he makes a chazaka, that means that he makes some kind of improvement on the property, because real estate is acquired with chazaka. He could back out. But once he makes a chazaka, he can't back out, and he can't say, well, now they're saying that wasn't your property. My timer, why? The amalei chaysa de katre savris v'kiblus. A bag that was tied, and that you don't know what's inside it. You took the risk and you accepted it. I'll tell you, this is a memory back from I was a very small boy. This is going back probably more than 57 years ago. I remember my father used to buy some sealed bags of silver. That was the arrangement. They were sealed bags. And sometimes there was very valuable stuff in the bags. And other times there were crosses in the bags that he had to throw away. Because you can't even sell the cross. It's asabana. You had to throw them away. So Reuven tells Shimon, look, what do you think? You were speculating. What do you think you got it? A property that's worth $300,000. You speculated, you risked, and now you find out that there's title problems. It's the ownership is murky. Now the Gemara says, "Me'emas havi chazaka." What's considered a chazaka? So one of the ways. Now there are many types of chazaka. You put up a fence. That's a chazaka. The border of the land had a raised earth all around the border. So if when the buyer went ahead and he made sure to have the border with this raised earth and he walked around it to step on the perimeter of the border to next to the raised part to make it strong. When he went around the perimeter of the property, so that's considered a chazaka. But that's only if he bought it without security. But if he bought it with security, he could back out even after he made a chazaka. However, the Gemara says, even if he bought it with security, once he makes a chazaka, he can't back out. He tells them, okay, if they come and take the property away from you, and they have a writ of seizure from a court to take it away from you, show me the writ of seizure, and then and then I'll reimburse you. But until then, I'm sorry, you made a chazaka. It's your headache now.
Why is this not mekach tais? I mean,
it's not mekach tais. It's speculation.
That's why.
That's right.
It's known. Like if I sell the Brooklyn Bridge to somebody, and everybody knows I don't own the Brooklyn Bridge, they don't have a taina.
No.
If a person knowingly sells something that doesn't belong to him,
then why did you agree to it?
The person was ignorant, but it still...
It makes no difference. You got to be careful when you buy things. Now, I'm selling your house tomorrow. And Marshall is buying it. I'm getting the money. Now, we're going to use it for the Siyum in the Waldorf. Now, we're going to go back now to our original question. Our original question is we said that the pasuk says Meitav Sadeo, Meitav Kama Yishalem, and then it also says another pasuk that Yoshev. Now it says Kesef Yoshev Labolov, and we said that you could pay even with Subin, even with bran. That was our original question. So Rav Huna says Oy Kesef Oy Meitav. Rav Huna says there's no stira. You could either pay with the best property or you could pay with money. That's why it says Kesef Yoshev Labolov. Says the Gemara, yeah, but we're not talking about money, we're talking about bran. Eisver Nachman Rav Huna Yoshev L'Rabba Shava Kesef and Afilu Subin. You see, you could pay even with bran, not just with money. Says the Gemara, Hacham Amayaskinan B'Delesle. Oh, it's talking about where all you have is bran. We're talking about Marshall. right? He takes out 700 boxes of cereal. He says, here, take it, it's bran. Says the Gemara, look at him nod. Ay, don't have anything to do.
Raisin bran.
Now, he eats it with his bowl.
You like my bowl.
I thought it was your hat. Says the Gemara, well, we want to welcome Avram Schenkman's granddaughter. It's very nice to have you. Really nice. You have the best Zaidi in the world. And there's a grandson. Okay. Says the Gemara, either Leslie, if all Marshall has is bran, pshita. No, it's not so pasha. Maybe the one who is damaged could tell Marshall, take your 700 boxes of bran and go to the market and convert it into money. Mao the same Aminu like Zil Torach Zavin, go and sell it for Isali Kesef and bring me the money. Kamash Malan, that the Nizik can't say that. Amar Ravasi, Ksofim Harihen Kekarka. Money is like real estate. So the Gemara says, "My hilchasa ilay malinian meitav," that you could either pay with karka or with money. Hainu Rav Huna, that's not novel. That's what Rav Huna says. Ella, it's coming to tell you the case. Lishnei achim, two brothers, shecholtu. You have Reuven and Shimon that divided their father's Yerusha. V'notal echad karka ve'echad ksafim. And one took real estate and one took money. Uba bal chayv v'notal karka. And the creditor was Bruce. Bruce was the creditor. He came and he took from Reuven the real estate. The ozil hai v'shokal palga b'ksafim. Bade. And the one that gave Arei the real estate could now take half the money from Shimon, because he said, "Look, it was a debt that we both owe, and therefore you got to reimburse me half." So that's what it means. Karka is like Ksafim, that they have the same responsibility to pay the debt. Says the Gemara, well, Pshita, duh. It's obvious. High bra, high labra, is one a son and one not a son. They're both on the hook to pay the debt of their father. As we welcome in Ben Tripp and we learn the Ili Nishmas Bella Dobre Bas Moshe Meir, Neshama should have an Aliyah. Mel, I don't see anybody else having a problem right now. Now, Ikramre, others say no. Shimon could tell Reuven, sorry fellow, we both took risks. You know, I took money. Money is not as secure as real estate. So if my money gets stolen, I'm on the hook. You took real estate, creditors come from. So we both took our risks. Says Gemara, Ikadamri Adrabali Idakisa. Damalei, Shimon tells Reuven, Lahachi Shaklek Safin. This is the reason why I took money. Dei migvei loy mishtalim naminach. If they collect it, I'm not going to reimburse you. Ulhachi shaklas ara, and the reason why you took land is the mitrifla. Excuse me. Damalei lahachi shaklek ksafim. I took money. I took a risk. The mignavei. Money is less secure. They're not going to steal real estate. If they steal it, like mishtalim naminach, I know that I'm on the hook, and I won't be able to be reimbursed from you. Ulachi shaklas ara, you took the land. The mitrifla, if a creditor comes and takes it away from you, loy mishtalim nach midei, I'm not going to reimburse you either. Loy midei minoi, I'm not going to reimburse you. And therefore, the pshat that kesef, that that we said that real estate is like sofim, it's not referring to this case. What's it referring to? El shnei achim shecholku. It's talking about where two brothers divided land. Uba balchay v'natal chelkai shel echad mehem, and a creditor came and took the land from Reuven. Now here, they both took land, so Reuven has the right now to ask Shimon to reimburse him for half. And it's telling us that Shimon could either give him real estate or give him money. And that's what it means, that it's either real estate or money. Says the Gemara, Ravasi Chodazimna. Ravasi already said this. Deitmar, Hoachim Shecholku. Reuven and Shimon divided the property. And Reuven, the creditor, came and took it from Reuven. The division is canceled, and they have to redivide. Because the idea is that the creditor comes from the estate at large, and the estate is still by the two brothers, and now that a good part of Reuven's Yerusha was taken away, they have to now put it back together and redivide it equally. V'Shmuel amavita. Shmuel says no. Reuven lost. Reuven has no option to get it back from Shimon. Ravasi says, noitel revia bekarka or revia b'mais. Ravasi says that Reuven can get, but he can get reimbursed for half. So he's supposed to get half. He could only get reimbursed of half of that half, and he could get a quarter either from real estate or from money. So before we get to the machlokes over here, we see that Ravasi holds that when you are reimbursed, you're reimbursed either with money or with karka. So that's already a teaching of Ravasi. Now, let's understand what the machlokes is over here. Rav Amabutla machlokes. Rav says, well, okay, if the creditor came and took from Reuven, now they have to redivide again the whole Yerusha. He holds kasavra achim shecholku kiyoshim. Brothers that inherit, even though they don't inherit, one takes one karka, another one takes another karka. We don't say that they're bartering. No, it's really by din of Yerusha, they should take a half of each one. Since one took one karka, one took the other karka, we might say that that's not a Yerusha anymore. It's a barter. But he says no. We say yesh breira. There's retroactive clarification, and what they take is the original Yerusha. And since it's the original Yerusha, therefore they're both on the hook for the debt of their father. And if one of them pays the debt, then they have to now start from the drawing board and redivide to make it fair. V'Shmuel amavita. Shmuel says vita kasavra achim shechol kuluchukais. They're buyers. And therefore, when one took one property and one took the other property, they were bartering, and therefore they're like buyers. And they're like buyers without achrayas. And therefore, if the Balchayv comes to Reuven, Shimon doesn't have to reimburse him. Rav Asi Amar Noitul Revia Bekarka Revia B'mais. Reuven is allowed to take. He should be reimbursed half, but Ravasi is mesupik if they're like a Yerush or like a Lekeach. And Mammon Hamuta B'Safik Cholkid, money that's in the suffix is split, and therefore he's entitled to get back a quarter, either with land or with money. Or the vav over here is or revia b'mois. So that's what we mean when we say that ksafin harein kekarka. So the Gemara says the Gemara, Elamai harein kekarka. You mean Indian native? It means that you could either give money or you could give the best land. Ihachi hainu Ravuna. That's the same thing as Ravuna said. So what is Ravasi adding? Says, well, you're right. Ema v'chein ama Ravasi. It's not nothing new. It's telling you either meitav or money. That's Rav Huna's din, and Ravasi is saying the same thing. Now, since Reb Zera said in the name of Rav Huna a din about fractions, so he says another din. Am Reb Zera, Am Rav Huna, b'mitzvah ad shlish. When it comes to doing a mitzvah, you should go up to 33.33%. So the Gemara right away asks, my shlish. Elema, that means that every mitzvah you have to pay a third of your wealth. Elema shlish beisai. That when it comes to buying tefillin, you have to pay a third of your wealth. Says the Gemara, if you have 3 mitzvahs, you got to buy a sukkah, lulav, and tefillin, you got to give away all your wealth. Leisev the kulei beisa, you have to liquidate your entire wealth. That can't be. Ella amar Reb Zera b'hidur mitzvah ad shlish. It means that if you want to buy a nicer esrig, you should give a third more on the price. Up to a third more, you should pay. So the Gemara says, at shlish b'mitzvah. So by Rav Ashi, when it says a third, is it shlish migav, an internal third? So if, let's say, the esrig was $60, so an internal third would mean you should spend another $20. Oy shlish milavar, or is a shlish of the outside total, which is actually a half of the amount. So if the esrig is $60, you take half of that, which is 30, and then when you add the 30 to the 60, that's 90, the 30 becomes a third of the new total. And that's the meaning of a shlish milavar. So the Gemara says, take it. We'll have to have Eliyahu answer that. B'marava amru mishmei de Reb Zera, ad shlish mishaloi. That which you add to the third, that comes from you. No, it's that comes from your own resources. Mikan ve'elach mishal HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If you spend more than a third, then the Rabbeinu Shalom will replenish that. In other words, the up to a third, that money comes out from your budget that you got on Rosh Hashanah. You spend more than a third, then the Rabbeinu Shalom will replenish that to you. He'll add to your budget from Rosh Hashanah.
What's the starting point? You go into a shop there, they have...
The starting point is the mitzvah set.
Right, but I could buy an esrog for 20, 40, 60, 80, 100.
So the starting point...
20 or start from
starting point is 20.
From the low...
The mitzvah set, right.
Isn't there a Gemara that says not more than a fifth? The person shouldn't spend more than a fifth.
No. That's tzedakah.
That's tzedakah.
That's al yivaz veis yosim mechamish. That's the tzedakah. Now, new Mishnah. So we're up to a new terrain, right? We finished the first. It's really a big thing. We finished the first whole Mishnah in Bava Kama. And again, I can't tell you, the item is moving into different worlds. We were in Gittin, now we moved into Kiddushin, Yochsen, and now we're moving into a totally different world. So if you find yourself initially disoriented, that's to be understood. Also, I was giving, our Chaver Rich Lenner is not on tonight. He had a arthroscopic surgery. He's doing well. He actually even came to shul Shabbos morning, but that's probably why he's not here now. He'll probably be listening to us. A shout out to him. But I recommended Rich Lenner, and he took me up on it, to buy the original black Mishnayos. Before the Elucidated came out, there was the ArtScroll black Mishnayos. Is that the Birnbaum Mishnayos? What's it called?
Yad Avram.
The Yad Avram. The Yad Avram. When you get to a Mishnah like this, if you learn the Mishnah in the Yad Avram, then the whole next Gemara becomes easy to follow because it introduces you to the concepts. They're just a piece of advice. So anyway, the Mishnah continues. Kol shechafti b'shmirasai, whatever I'm responsible to watch, then hichsharti es niskai. If I do not do my due diligence, then it's considered like I made possible the damage. Hichsharti b'miksas niskai, if I made possible part of the damage, chafti b'tashlumei nezik, I'm chayiv in the damages, ke'echsher kol niskai, as if I made possible the whole damage. We'll talk about that in the Gemara. Nechasim she'ein b'hem mila, I am responsible for property that doesn't have the din of trespass. That means property that is not hektish. Nechasim she'ein shel b'nei bris, property that belongs to Jews. Nechasim amiyuchadim, property that is owned, that's designated to a person, it's not ownerless. Or b'chol makam, and all over, chutz mirishus hamiyuchedes lamazik, except if something wandered into my property, or rishus hanizik v'amazik, or we shared the property. But otherwise, kishehizik, when it damages, chov hamazik, it's the responsibility of the damaging party, l'shalim tashlumei nezek, to make up for the loss, b'mei tavar, it's from the best of the land. Now, of course, this is a deliberately enigmatic Mishnah. There is an opinion. Remember, we said that where it uses the lashon of chav and not chayiv, it's a sign that the Tana is a Yerushalmi, where they speak much more clipped and cryptic and enigmatic. So this is probably also a Mishnah. And now we're going to spend time explaining all the details of this Mishnah. We start off, Tana Rabbanan kol shechafti b'shmirasai, if I'm responsible to guard it, hichsharti es niskai, it's considered as if I cause the damage. Ketzad, shor ubar, an ox and a pit, shema, I'm responsible for those. Shemasra on the cheresh shayt of a cotton, and I gave it over to a deaf mute, an imbecile, and a minor. Now, since they don't guard it correctly, I'm considered as if I caused the mayhem that is caused. And then, v'hiziko, if it damages, chayiv l'shalim. Mash'en came be'esh. But this is not true if I give to the cheresh shayt of a cotton a type of fire. So the Gemara says over here, let's see it inside. The Gemara says, B'may askinan. I think Saba's trying to get on. Says the Gemara, B'may askinan. What are we talking about over here? Ilema b'shar kasher ubar mechusa, that I'm giving to the chereshite of a cotton a chained ox or a covered manhole. I hear you, but you're disturbing the whole share. Says the Gemara, again, V'mayaskinan. Ilema b'shar kasher ubar mechusa, an ox that's chained and a manhole that's covered. The kavasa gabi eish gacheles, you just gave the child a coal. Then, I don't understand. Why are you chayiv by the shar and the bar? By both you should be potter. Just like the gacheles, you're potter by the child because it's not, ready to do damage. So too, you shouldn't be chayiv for the shar that's tied and the bar that's covered. El b'shar meiser bar megula, it must be a shar that's not chained and a pit that's uncovered. The kavasa gabayei shal heves, that you gave the child a fire. What do you mean? Mashen came to Aish the potter? What do you mean? You are chayiv if you give the child a fire. The only time you're potter is if you gave him a coal and the child fanned the coal. But if you give the child a fire, you're chayiv. My timer, that's certain to do damage. So the Gemara says you're right. La'ilam b'shar kasher, it's talking about an ox that's tied, ubar mechusa, and a pit that's covered. But there's a big difference. Why by the shar and the bar you're chayiv and by the eish you're potter? It's simple. Shar darkei l'nesuke. The shar gets out of the tie. It pulls against the rope and gets out of it. Bar darkei l'nesure, and the pit gets uncovered. People step on it, move it, it gets uncovered. But at gacheles, to the contrary, the coal dies out. It doesn't get. It's not likely to become a menace. Gacheles kama de shavakla, when you leave it, ma'am yavazel. Says the Gemara, but what about Rabbi Yochanan, who says that even if you give a child a fire, you're not chayiv? Oh, Rabbi Yochanan lama afilu masalei shall have his nami potter. The kavasei hacha, that a similar thing over here would be b'shar meiser or bar megula, a shar that's not tied and a pit that's uncovered. So ma'ishna hacha, why by the shar and the bar are you chayiv and the fire you're potter? The Gemara says, Hasam, by the fire, it's safza the cherish kagarim. It's the imbecile, the deaf mute, the imbecile, the minor, that made it do damage. By the shor, it's not the tzafts of the cherish. By the fire, it's the cherish that carried it and did the damage. By the shor, it's the shor that did the full damage by itself. The bar that did the damage by itself, since it was uncovered. Hacha loy tzafza the cherish kagar. Now, even by the fire, you would be chayiv b'dinei shemayim, but you're not chayiv b'dinei adam because it's considered a grama. We'll talk more about that. We're going to stop over here now, Rabbi Isai, and we're going to learn the Mishnah Yomis. It is 9:30. I do think that I will do a chok later this evening. I'm gonna put it on the